Now to help us synthesize everything we've heard and we've learned today, and to point us down the right path for going forward and to talk about what might come after this conference, I've asked two people to give some brief closing remarks, Michael Levine and Emily Kirkpatrick. First, it's my pleasure to introduce Michael. You can come up, Michael. He's a good friend and a colleague. He's director of the Joan Gantz Cooney Center at Sesame Workshop. And the Cooney Center is an independent organization based at Sesame Workshop that catalyzes and supports research, innovation, and investment in promising educational media technologies for children. Previously, Michael oversaw Carnegie Corporation of New York's groundbreaking work in childhood development, educational media, and primary grades reform, and was a senior advisor to the New York City Schools Chancellor. And he's just a really good guy. Please join me in welcoming Michael Levine.
George Lee, I was thinking about thank you, Ellen. Putting the HS and HHS. I think at Sesame Workshop and at the Cooney Center, we like to say we're putting the fun in dysfunctional. So, thank you all for staying around. It's been a really interesting day. Ellen asked me to think a little bit about comments on the survey, but also to look to new pathways of research. And given the amount of time and the time of the day, I'm going to have a few comments on the report, but mostly point to new research that's underway. I'll start by saying media and technology has become, to cite today's very important study, a family affair. Changes in parenting approaches are evolving apparently in different, more nuanced ways than we previously understood and that many observers have been claiming. The new media ecology, and I love that term ecology, I'll say a word about that soon, is questioning old assumptions for sure, but also reasserting the primary child development influences for millennia, parents, right? So the survey released today will, I hope, stimulate much needed attention to both the enduring role that parents play in our media-saturated culture and point the way to some of the key shifts that are worth keeping our eyes on in years ahead. At the Cooney Center, as Ellen suggested, we've been mapping and tracking the rapid pace of change in what we at times have been referring to, and maybe we have to change this, Lisa Guernsey, the digital Wild West for both parents and educators. Maybe that's a little bit of an overstatement. But among the issues touched on today that we think are critical are, one, a better understanding of the context of media use. What are the best opportunities, settings, and situations for families to learn and play with media together? Two, improving the quality, the content. Content is king for media for families and children. What do we know about the perception of, but at the actual, more importantly, the actual uses of media for educational and for social impact? And third, an issue that policymakers have during the day pointed to, but which I don't think they've totally gotten right yet, is promoting equity. For vulnerable groups that are underserved, what do we know about particular use patterns and their effects? I found the survey's depiction of a new family media typology especially tantalizing in this regard, with the media-centric parents, for example, expressing more stresses and fewer supports on key life domain issues. So today's findings are an exciting prelude for ongoing work in the field. I'm going to spend a few minutes previewing some work that many of us are going to be doing together in the future, including 2 new initiatives. So an exciting group of scholars and nonprofit leaders in educational program development have come together, not for the first time, but this is a somewhat unique consortium, to build 2 new resources for the field: the Families and Media Project Consortium and a connected working group that will study digital technology used by Hispanic and Latino families. These efforts intend to serve as a modern-day update to Yuri Bronfenbrenner's pioneering research on family ecological systems, delving into the different influences that shape a developing child's life trajectories, including parent-child interactions, the role of peers, informal and formal learning opportunities, and probing how this microsystem of societal policies and values are changing or influencing modern family life. The partners in the work will focus their attention on the uses of media across a wide age range, because as we heard from the panel, It depends a lot on the age, on the context, on the population group. As represented by our anchor partners at Sesame Workshop for the preschool set, and at ARP, where grandparents are increasingly involved in child-rearing responsibilities. How many of you knew that the average age of a grandparent is 47? Where that 2.5 million grandparents are in primary child-rearing modes? Very, very interesting. So we're delighted to have been able to bring together some of the leading scholars and media experts from across the country, from Stanford to ASU to Northwestern to Rutgers, and to be working with leading early education and literacy organizations, many of whom are represented on this slide. We're also delighted to be working closely with so many of you in the audience today, National Center for Family Literacy, Common Sense Media, New America Foundation, and many other groups. It's just been a delight being part of the collaborative process. As I noted, we have a special interest in what educational media experts refer to and what Ellen and Vicki described as learning together, or joint media engagement. This principle, discussed by our panel earlier, is a key one that educational media organizations, beginning with Sesame Street some 4 decades ago, discovered as a powerful prospect for enhanced intergenerational and peer-to-peer knowledge development. The survey results which were shared today indicate that we have a distance to go, I think a long distance to go, in promoting the potential educational benefits of cross-generational learning through media. This slide is a guide to developers, sort of our first attempt with the Life Center to demonstrate and document the practices that may support learning with media. It's available for free on our website. This report, the new co-viewing, conjures both real-life exemplars and academic research on the topic. As an example of the new field work that we will undertake, our team began delving into the relationship between context and educational content with a quick study last year to examine the rapidly evolving transition from print to digital books for young readers. The results, which were kind of controversial, included provocative but hardly conclusive findings on the efficacy of print over enhanced ebooks for early reading skills development, evoked a very big media debate on the value of digital materials for young readers. But more importantly, this small study reminded us that content and context are very important factors in judging the potential of media tools to support learning. The study also made it clear to all of us that different families are using digital media in very, very different ways, and that a deeper dive into the world of underserved families, in particular Hispanic and Latino families' use of digital media, is very timely. Working with NCFL and others and leading scholars, we are at the beginning stages of a new initiative to understand technology and equity issues. Last June, we held a forum near here in cooperation with the Obama administration on the uses of technology with Hispanic and Latino households. And in April, we reconvened members of the group to finalize a report we will release with NCFL and others next week. That report will recommend a series of national action steps to ramp up research and development on the potential uses of educational technologies for underserved families. The report on Latino families is previewed here. A number of new studies are being planned as a result, including one on digital equity this summer in Chula Vista, California, under the direction of Dr. Vicki Katz, who you heard from on the panel. The new Aprendiendo Juntos, Learning Together Council, along with the Families and Media Project, will also be developing a special in-depth report, which Vicki Rideout will be playing a large role in, on the Hispanic family oversample from the Northwestern study, which was presented today. This work will inform the Families and Media Project initiative I previewed a few minutes ago. Starting later this month, the partners will begin a 5-year study with 3 different parts. They're previewed here: a national survey, which Vicki Rideout will be a part of, regional family field studies on topics of great interest and sort of depth analysis, learning a lot from Eleanor Oakes's pioneering work that she described earlier today, and a longitudinal outcomes study, which is going to be taking a look at the long-term impact of high-quality educational media interventions in different kinds of communities. Our intention with this multiplex, multidimensional Families and Media Research Project is to, 1, stimulate national investment in more R&D, we really need it. 2nd, inform policy on digital equity, family engagement, and education reform. 3rd, we will continue to use these knowledge bits to translate and to create what we hope will be usable knowledge for designers and developers and those who are involved in media-based interventions. And finally, to develop resources, practical information, pragmatic stuff for parents and educators. Finally, led by Vicki Wright, as I suggested before, the first part of the study will go into the field this month. It's going to include a special emphasis on African American and Latino families again, with a focus on educational quality. We don't know nearly enough about the perceptions about educational quality among parents of 2 to 10-year-olds. Results will be released before the end of the year. So just to close, I would just say, as the findings on the national study on parents and technology released today make clear, the influence of media on family life, while highly nuanced, is definitely here to stay, and I think it's growing. It's our goal at the CUNY sector to champion the important work being done by others in this room and throughout the United States and the world, because we think that the important issues in a digital age are not being recognized nearly enough by the public institutions that are just beginning to dedicate important financial resources to them. We firmly believe that by working and learning together, educators, parents, policymakers, and media designers can gain the needed insight to, after all, do what we need them to do, deploy these technologies in increasingly powerful ways. The children deserve nothing less. Thanks for listening.